Awesome. If anything, at least try to hit those three main meals, right? Your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And if you're at least capturing your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, then we can work in snacks somewhere in there.
Right.
Okay. You want to have balanced meals. When we say balanced meals, we are talking specifically about including all of your macros, breakfast, proteins, carbs, and fats. Proteins are going to provide you with that muscle recovery. It's going to help build those muscles. And then you have your carbs that are going to provide you with that energy. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that as we go on in the slides. And then you have your fats. You want those healthy fats that are going to help you dissolve those fat solubles. So you do want to make sure that you're having those balanced meals each time you eat, including those snacks. Mm-hmm. Drinking 80 ounces of water a day. That is the goal, right? And that's the minimum amount that you should drink. So if you don't know how much you're drinking a day, if you're used to using maybe if you're used to drinking out of your Yeti cup, just kind of guesstimate, or if you know how much this Yeti cup holds, we want you to start tracking your water intake to see if you're hitting that 80. If you're not hitting the 80, just see where about, you're hitting, and then so that you can know how much you need to add each day. Think about your workouts, right? Do you work out in the morning? Do you work out in the afternoon? Do you work out midday? And eating around your workouts. You know your body, right? So if you're a morning workout, I'm a 6 a.m. workouter, if that's a word. I can't eat before I work out, but I know my counterparts need to have something in their stomach. They'll sit down and have a cup of coffee and some oatmeal before that 6 a.m. workout. You know your body. If you're working out in the afternoon, just know that you need to have something throughout the day so that to support that. Right. But you should have a good hour, if you're especially eating food that needs to be digested, that there's at least an hour between that last meal and working out. Think about, are you eating out? How often are you eating out? We're going to talk about when you eat out and things that you should keep in mind when eating out. But the idea behind not just this challenge, just in general, we want to limit processed foods. So a lot of our traditionally fast food places are going to include processed food. So we may need to stay away from those or not eat those as often. Let's go to somewhere where they're actually preparing our meals. All right. How many of you have ever tracked your meals and then tracked them in MyFitnessPal? That's what we're going to be using. We need to know what you're eating. That's the only way that we are able to coach you, right? So it's not a punitive, oh, this is all bad. But we just need to know what you're eating, throughout the day so that we can provide better coaching for you. We are using the MyFitnessPal app. We'll make sure that you all are connected appropriately or correctly so that the information flows over to our Healthy Steps Nutrition app. And then quality versus quantity. It's not about how much you eat. Probably heard the eat every 2 to 3 hours and it's like, oh my God, I don't eat that much. It's not about how much you eat. It's about the quality of those meals, because you can eat twice a day, but if the quality of that meal is pretty poor, you can eat twice a day over 2,000 calories, right? So you just want to make sure that your choices are, we'll talk about some of that.
Yep. So one question we got in, and I'll touch on this before we move on, is can we split or reserve some of our meal and eat as a snack? You can do that. I know getting started when trying to retrain your diet, it's hard to eat those full meals every 2 to 3 hours. Mm-hmm. So if you have a breakfast and you don't finish it and you want to, save the fruit for a snack, you can do that. So we're going to look at all the pieces of the puzzle. So we are going to do our goal setting now. When we're setting our goals, we want to make sure that we follow the SMART method. So making sure that that goal is specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and then time sensitive. And so what does that mean for us?
So I like to give an example, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to say, oh man, Rashawn, my goal is to lose weight. I want to tone up a little bit and lose some inches. Great goal to have, but it's not that specific, right? How do I measure that? Also, is it attainable? Am I trying to lose 30 pounds in 28 days? You know, is it attainable? And is it realistic? And then time sensitive. So those are the things I want to think about. So if I'm thinking smartly with my goals, I can take that same goal and I can say, okay, well, the time sensitive part, I have 28 days, right? So we already give you the time part, but I need to be specific. So if it's a weight goal, and everyone is not going to have a weight goal, I just threw that one out, you know, as an example. But if it's a weight goal, then what's specific? You know what? I want to lose 5 pounds. Is that attainable? That's pretty attainable. About 1 to 2 pounds a week is healthy weight loss. Is it realistic? Yes. That is something, if I'm following the steps, I can do that. How do I measure it? Well, we've gotten, for the most part, all of your biometrics. If we have not gotten your biometrics or measurements, please email us, send us a message in the app, let us know we need to get that so that we can measure that. It doesn't have to be a weight goal. Maybe your issue is not drinking enough water, right? How do I make that a SMART goal? Right now, I'm only getting, and this is realistic for me, right? I'm only drinking about 32 ounces a day. The goal is 80. Is that realistic and attainable in 28 days? Absolutely, if I'm consistent and specific in my action steps. So measurable, can I measure it? Yeah. If I know I'm at 32 now and I'm tracking how much I'm drinking every day, I can measure whether or not I get to that 80 ounces. And I'm really being specific. It is 80 ounces that I want to get to. So my goal may not be, I can even make it even more specific and say, you know what? I want to add 8 ounces a week to my water. So for this first week, I'm just going to make sure I add another cup of water to take it from 32 to 40. And then the following week, I'm going to do 8 ounces more. So I'm going to now do 48 ounces. That's making it even more realistic, because if I'm doing 32 ounces a day, tomorrow, 82 ounces is going to be, even if I get it down tomorrow, I promise you, by Monday, I'm back at 32. So it's just being realistic about it and taking a realistic approach. Right?
Yep. So now, and then we can go over to the next slide.
Yeah.
So we're actually going to write down our goals. We're going to give you guys just a couple of minutes. If you flip to the manual
page
4
or page 4, I don't know if that's it's page 1, and it'll be page 1.
Yeah.
There's a goal setting page, right? And we have 2 goals that we want you to write down. We want you to do a short-term goal. Mm-hmm. So the short-term goal is in these 28 days. What is something that you want to accomplish? And then there's a long-term goal beyond the 28 days, because this is just a jump start, right? To what we're going to do for a lifetime. So what do you want to do long-term, or what do you want to achieve? I like to say, what does success look like for you in 28 days? And what does success look like for you in the next 6 months? Let's let that. So 28 days and then 6 months. So I'll give you a couple minutes to kind of think about that and write it down.
And then if you guys get finished a little early, you can write the action steps that it would take to get there. So for example, within the 28 days, if I want to lose, 5 pounds, my action steps are going to be commitment to the challenge, maybe working out 2 to 3 times a week, and then also getting those 80 ounces of water in. So those are just some action steps I would take to help that goal.
Yeah. When you're thinking about your action steps, think of it in these terms. What are you committed to do or committed to doing in the next 28 days to help you achieve that goal? I always say, a goal is a wish, a dream, a prayer, if you don't put any steps behind it.
Right.
So what are those steps that you're willing to take? And if you could just write 1 or 2 steps for each goal. And this is for you, right? You don't have to share it with the room. We do want you to share it with us, right? So after you write that down, if you can take a screenshot of that and just keep a screen, or take a picture of your goals and just hold it for now. We'll have you do something with it later. Okay, so what is realistic for losing inches off of your waist? I used to have that as a thing. I think for a week. I'm gonna find it unless you knew. I used to have that off the top of my head because that was a question that I used to get a lot. And I want to say, I'm not going to throw anything out there. We'll just get you that answer. We'll get you all that answer.
That's good. That's good.
And I'll give it to the group because that's a great question. About
3 to 5 inches.
All right.
Because it goes with the.
So it actually goes with the pounds. I looked at 2 references and it actually correlates with your pound loss. So if you're thinking about 2 pounds a week, which is about 8 pounds a month, and that's about 2 to 8 pounds a month. That's about 4 weeks. It's giving me. I will go back to this one, that first one. I would say 5 to 10 inches. If you go back to can I go back to our previous slide?
Yeah.
You go back to and one even before that, you have to be consistent, right? Consistency is key. So with your action steps, doing it this week, because we're all energized, right? And we're all excited. But then next week, kind of lose momentum, and then we're going back and forth. That's not consistency. But if you're consistent, anywhere between 5 and 10, and that's going to just change for everybody. Any other questions? So once you write those down, just take a picture. I'll tell you all what to do with it in a little bit. The basics.
So going over the basics. So these are a couple of things that we want to do and focus on. So we like to take the holistic approach, choosing real food over food products. One thing that you can use as a reference, like for example, going to the grocery store, shopping the perimeter of the grocery store. So typically those are where the fresher items are. The processed items are in the middle.
The middle, right? Sitting on the shelf. So think about your grocery store. Perimeter is going to be your vegetables, your fruit, and your meats, right? Processed is in the middle. Also, we get this question a lot about, can I do frozen vegetables or can I do frozen fruits? Yes, if you can find it in the frozen section in its most, original form. So that separates what we're looking at in the frozen section. If you can find it in its original form in the frozen section, it's just as good as eating it fresh. Mm-hmm. The only difference is convenience, right? So if you know that you're going to buy all of these fresh vegetables and fruit and it's going to sit and it's going to rot because you're not eating it fast enough, get frozen. perfectly fine. Maybe it's not so much that you're not eating it, but you don't go to the grocery store as often, or you don't want to go as often. It's okay to get those frozen vegetables and those frozen fruits.
So our next point that we want to touch on is closet clean out. So going into that pantry and pulling out all those snacks that we probably should not be eating, all of those foods with those preservatives. So cleaning that out this weekend. That way you won't be tempted to challenge.
Out of sight, out of mind.
And then don't buy it.
And then don't buy it again.
Don't restock.
And I understand for some of us, like myself, who have kids, right? Yeah. And so Oreos are going to be in my pantry because my child is going to eat Oreos. But maybe taking it out of your line of sight. You know, this is their shelf. They know where to go to their shelf, and your line of sight are those things that you like, reserve you a shelf that these are the things, my options, and this is what I'm going to focus on.
And one thing I like to do, when I clean out my pantry, I like to organize it. I feel
She's
like
so good at it. I need her to come do mine.
Like I want to eat it.
Like I really want her to come do mine. And organizing it, just buying containers or labeling, whatever that looks like for you, so that you can know what you have and you can reach exactly what you need.
And lastly about that, it's easy to restock because then you can actually see what you have, especially in the refrigerator.
Unlike me, I'm buying stuff that I already have tins of.
Yeah.
This is so important. Progress over perfection. So I know in talking with a lot of you, signing up for nutrition in any capacity, it's that hesitation of, I have to do this a certain way. There's something that you perceive we're looking for. You don't want to let us down. And there's no letting us down. You have already exceeded our expectations by signing up, right? So pat yourself on the back. You are already ahead of the game. We are not looking for perfection. We're not perfect. That's why every time we have a challenge, we're doing it right along with you, because we're not perfect either. It's not about that. It's about progress. Realistically, so going back to those goals, what am I doing today? And what are those things that I need to do differently, or that I want to do differently? And let's make some steps towards that. And if you make some steps towards making those changes, that's progress. And there's no small or big, everything's a win. We celebrate it all. So throw that perfection out, because I don't even know what that looks like. I don't even know how to measure you against this, because I don't know what perfect is. I am looking to see, what were you doing today and what did you do differently tomorrow?
Okay. So the next thing that we're going to be doing is looking at those food labels. And I like the way Joy goes through the macros on the food labels, but I'll touch on this. With looking at the food label.
That's in here. Go ahead.
Oh,
I didn't know what you were doing.
Yeah, you can.
No, go ahead.
So with the food label, so typically what is listed first are those whole food sources.
You talking here or here?
Here.
Oh, in the ingredients.
In the ingredients.
Yes.
Are the whole food sources. And then I'll let Joy take it away.
So I'm going to take even an extra step to what Rashawn is saying with the labels. So if you're wanting to see, when she's talking about the whole food choices and things like that, what is the biggest makeup of this bag here? It's going to be those first 3 to 4 items. So if sugar is in those first 3 items, that means that this is majority sugar.
Right.
And this is not what I need or want in my body. Okay. So you want to see what are those first couple of options or that are actually listed. That's letting us know what's actually in here. What's the content? So use that as a guide. Just don't stop here at calories, because this means absolutely nothing. This is where we talk about quality, right? Because if it's 120 calories, but the second ingredient is sucralose.
Yeah.
And I saw something like that recently, and I was like, then this is trash.
And I always say, if you can't pronounce it, you probably shouldn't be eating it.
If you can pronounce it, and that gets into those preservatives, right? And all that processed food, a lot of that we can't pronounce. Okay. So when talking about macros, and I've had some conversations with some of you, we're not promoting macro counting. Now, if you want a macro count, we can have a conversation. But we're going to take a simplistic approach, right, to eating. When talking about macros, and your macronutrients are your carbs, your proteins, and your fats, that's what you want included in every single meal. So we talked about having a balanced meal. You want all three of those included. What macronutrients means is when I'm looking at this 120 calories, macro, the majority, the most of my nutrients are going to come from those three categories: proteins, carbs, and fats. Everything else that's listed, so you'll have, vitamin D and potassium and iron and all these other things that's listed here, those are my micronutrients. So only a little bit of my nutrients are coming from that, but the most of my nutrients are coming from my carbs, my proteins, and fats. That's why the name macronutrients. So it's no, I guess, mystery or like, oh, what is this macro thing? Proteins, carbs, and fats. That's where this is where your calories come from. So if this is 120 calories, and I know that most of my calories this is the makeup of this 120 calories are coming from my proteins, my carbs, and my fats, I want to make sure that when I'm looking here, my proteins, my carbs, and my fats, it's the best of those, the quality, the most quality of that. That's going to determine how big this number is or how small this number is. If I am eating not the healthiest option of carbs, proteins, and fats, it's going to take this calorie count up. If I'm eating the most quality of those three, it's going to take the carb count down. So when I'm looking here, yes, this is very important. Do not leave out looking at the ingredients. You can start here though and say, okay, well, how much fat is in it? How much of this 120 is fat? How much of it is carb? And how much of it is protein? And then we go to our ingredients and see if we can find that down here as well. Okay.
Any questions?
Any questions? We're just looking at the chat. Any questions in the room? And we're paying attention to the chat. So if you all have questions, just put them in there and we'll address everyone. Now, we talk about macronutrients, right? And that's something that I don't want you all to put too much focus on past making sure that your meals are including proteins, carbs, and fats. Because Rashawn and I are really going to pay attention to that portion or how, that percentage, and make sure that you're hitting those targets. We're going to make this as simplistic as possible. One of our mottos with our nutrition program is something as fundamental as nutrition should be simplistic. Mm-hmm. So if that is a little bit too much, we can break it down even further, and we're going to follow what we refer to as the plate method. Okay, what the plate method does is it says, look, thinking about carbs, proteins, and fats, and we have a little picture of it in your book, is that half of your plate, right, should be those healthier, or what we refer to as favorable carbs. That's going to be more so your vegetables. A quarter of your plate should be your protein. And then if you want a starchy carb, and nothing's wrong with a starchy carb, if you want a starchy carb, it's about portion. You want to limit it to a quarter of your plate. So half of your plate should be vegetables, some fruit, a quarter of your plate protein, and a quarter of your plate can lend it to that starchier carb, like your sweet potato or your brown rice. Now, you may say, but what about fat? Because fat is also a macro and we want it included. Well, depending on your protein has its own source of fat. So you don't have to go necessarily looking for fat because it's going to be included. But then also how you are cooking your food. If you're cooking it in an olive oil or an avocado oil, those plant-based oils, you're adding fat back into it. So you're already getting your fat. If you're eating a garden salad, something like adding nuts or adding a oil-based dressing or adding some avocado on the side, that's adding those healthy fats back in. But thinking about that plate method. Now, if you think about the plate method, a lot of us, it's a little shifted, right? Especially in American culture, and we have all these other cultures coming in, right? Where our rice is about half of our plate. Like if I go to a restaurant, they're gonna give me a half a plate of rice. They're gonna put my meat right in that little section, and then they'll give me a little bit of greens or some in that other little pocket, right? We are reimagining our plate. We're not imagining it. We're going to take it past imagination and we're going to redesign our plate. Mm-hmm. So I say, when you're looking at your plate like this, when you're looking at your plate, when you're fixing your plate at home, this is going to be your guide. If you're at a restaurant and they say, well, what would you like your two sides to be? Well, looking at the plate method, what should your two sides be? What should they be, Rajan? Two vegetables.
But preferably those favorable carbs.
Yes.
Preferably. April asks, is that a dinner size plate?
Yes. Yes. So not a snack, or what is it? The snack or the salsa, the little salsa. No, this is a regular dinner size plate. So again, we're not changing. We're not so much focusing on quantity, but quality. So you can have your regular dinner size plate. You see this plate is filled up, right? They didn't skimp. They have food all over the plate. You can have your plate. You just want to make sure the quality of your food is correct.
Yeah. And then Cheryl pointed out, from experience, grocery shopping takes longer at first, but then it becomes natural and easier after a while.
Yeah, especially once you learn where everything is and you kind of know what you want to do and you have a plan before you walk into the store. Yes, it starts to get a lot
and
easier.
Then one thing that I really like, grocery pickup or drop off. You can just put it in the cart and have them drop it off.
Yes.
Whole Foods drops it off within the same day.
And then what's the other one? Instacart. Instacart drops off, and then we still have grocery stores that are allowing you to do pickup. Sam's is still allowing you to do pickup.
That's amazing. Because then you don't have to go shop. You just pick what you need. It's my favorite.
Okay, so let's break these macros down a little bit more. So protein should be 30% of your meal. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner, it should be 30%, right? And we'll take it back to the previous slide. It should be 30%. I don't want you to focus on that. That's what Rashawn and I will focus on. We just want you to log your food, right? We will focus on that percentage because we can look at your food. We'll be able to see, are you not getting enough protein? And then we're not going to say, oh, you are at 15%. You need to add 15% more. No, we're not going to say that. We're going to say, hey, I noticed that you are not getting enough protein. I'm looking at your breakfast. It looks like your breakfast is not, are you an egg? Oh, you don't eat eggs? No problem. What about, and then we'll offer you some recommendations, some suggestions to make sure that you're getting that protein where that protein is missing, that can take your protein percentage where we need it to be. So that's where the coaching comes in, right? We want you to log so we can know what you're doing so that we can know how to best help you. But when thinking about what you're actually choosing to eat, that's the other piece, right? That we want you to focus on. You want those lean sources of meat. So we have a little guide here. Your chicken breast, right? Skinless chicken breast. Skin is where the fat is. I know that's the most delicious part, but that is where the fat is. You want fish, turkey, egg whites. Those are just suggestions, options that you have. We've provided you with a food option guide in here that's going to provide you with some additional lean protein beyond this list here, okay? When looking at that, you'll have some things that fall into the moderation category and some things that fall into the limit category. You'll notice that we do not have a category that says do not eat, right? Or food that you can't, options that you cannot have or to stay away from completely. We will never tell you that because then you're dieting, and we're not dieting over here. We're making healthy habits. So anything that falls into the moderation or the limit, it means just that. Eat that in moderation. Let's limit how many times we eat bacon, right? I'm a bacon lover. Totally get it. We just don't want to have bacon every day, right? Once a week, once every other week. How can I limit my bacon intake? Because that falls into my limit category. We're not going to take away something that gives you joy at all. That's not fun. Ways that you can eat, right? Grilling.
So grilling bacon,
Air fryer.
my favorite, the air fryer, or just different ways. And then even when you coat your meat, you can use like an almond based flour instead of using the other flour.
Yeah.
Just different ways. And before we move over to the next slide, we are aware that some people may be vegetarian or they may be pescatarian.
Yes.
So you can eat normal, and we'll just look at the graph and see what we can add to that.
And if you are vegetarian and or pescatarian, please bring that to our attention, because we can give you a specific
food
plan that is specific to pescatarian or vegetarian. We know that protein is not synonymous with meat. It's not. There's beans, there's legumes. I think meat just comes to mind because most of us are meat eaters, but we understand that that is not synonymous with meat, and we can give you some additional recommendations. So question, are air fried chicken wings with the skin acceptable? So yes. I'm going to tell you, when looking at the chicken as a whole and all of the pieces of the chicken, the most fattiest piece of the chicken that's going to fall in the limit category is the chicken wing. Okay. And that is everyone's favorite piece, right? But that is the limit piece of the chicken. And the reason is, if you think about the chicken wing, it is mostly skin. That's where all the fat is coming from. So we're going to put it in the limit category. Regardless of how you cook it, you can bake the chicken, grill the chicken wing. It's going to still be the limit category because of what it is, right? So we're not going to say you can't have it. We're going to say limit it.
And you can eat it with the skin on.
Yeah, I mean, because if you take it off, there's like nothing there, bones, like a little strip of meat. Yeah. But that is why it falls into that category. So you're going to want to limit it, regardless of how you cook it. You're going to want to definitely limit your chicken wing intake. Yes. If you do the grocery pickup, it does, because especially going back to the grocery store, never go when you're hungry, right? Because then you just pick up all the things, right?
Everything. Like, oh,
but also grocery pickup allows you not to, like me, I just discover a whole lot of things that I didn't go intend to purchase. So before we leave this slide, just something to pay attention to: the reason why you need to include protein in every single meal, because it provides your body structure. It regulates your body function, your immune system, and then we're all pairing fitness with this, right? We want to not wake up the next day feeling sore because of the push-ups that we did.
Those crazy workouts,
right? Because we did some sit-ups, and now our abs are hurting. Protein helps with that. It helps with muscle recovery. So you'll see different ones of us will grab some protein right after we work out. There's nothing magical to this bag of protein itself. It's just a way of getting protein in our body immediately after that workout to start that recovery process. So protein is important. You need your protein. Carbs.
Oh,
okay. Yes. For everyone, with the MyFitnessPal, you do not need to pay for a subscription to MyFitnessPal. The basic free option I've used that for years. I'm talking 5-6 years. I just recently purchased the other one just because I'm doing some other things with it. But I have been able to function successfully on the free basic version of that. So that's all we require for this. Okay. So carbs, this is our body's main preferred source of energy. Now our bodies will adapt, right? It'll adapt and it'll adapt to what you're doing to it, right? So if you're not getting enough carbs, it'll find somewhere else to get its energy. It'll, look at your fat, it'll look at your protein, but protein we already know has its own job. Mm-hmm. And we're going to talk about fat's job. Fat has a job too. So we want our body to use those carbs the way it's intended, which is to really provide us with that energy. We just want to make sure that we're giving our body the best carbs that we can get. So carbs is a huge spectrum, right? It's like huge. So on this side, you have your rices, your potatoes, your breads, your pastas, right? All those starchy carbs. And then on this side, we have those nice leaf green vegetables, right? And then in the middle there, we have that fruit. The fruit kind of goes along the middle. So it's a big spectrum. All of it is carbs. So thinking back at our calorie count, right? That number that's up here, when we're looking at carbs, if you're eating the carbs that are on this side, right? Those starchy carbs, those rice, those pastas, that's what's taking my calorie count up. That's going to get me up there. If I'm staying over here with my broccoli and my asparagus and my green beans, right? That's going to take my carb down. So thinking about that half a plate of rice.
It's going to be the rice.
It's going to be 100 plus calories, right? A half a plate of broccoli. Child, you be at 40 calories, which is a good thing, right? 40 calories, that's great. But what I'm saying is when you're full too. But what I'm saying is like, if you're trying to eat a lot, you're like, man, I just only ate 40. Yes. And that, I mean, it's really as simple as that. How do you keep that calorie count down? Over here, right? Along this side, it creeps up. That calorie count goes up the more we eat along this side. So you want to think about that when you're picking your carbs. Your carbohydrates. You want to talk a little bit more about it?
Yeah. So ideally, we want to stick to the right side because those are going to be lower on the glycemic index, so a little bit lower in sugar. We do want to be mindful of our fruits because some of them are high in sugar. So, for example, if we are making a fruit smoothie, we want to throw in some of those green vegetables to kind of bring that sugar count down. Right. Because if it's only fruit, we're drinking mainly sugar. Sugar is sugar.
I had a conversation with someone recently, and they were like, they said this, not my words. They said, I thought I was doing so good because I was drinking a fruit smoothie like every morning, and I couldn't figure out why I wasn't losing. And I don't know if they went to the doctor or some kind of way they came across the information, and they realized that they was just drinking nothing but sugar every morning. And so that's when they started cutting back on some of the fruit and adding some of those spinach or kale in there, but cutting back on the fruit as well. So I think a lot of people, from just even conversations, a lot of people tend to go to that banana. Banana is one of the highest in sugar. Watermelon, one of the highest fruits in sugar. So we think watermelon, water, and it's light and it's fresh and it's a lot of sugar. So doesn't mean you can't have it. You can have it. You just want to eat it in moderation. Just kind of remember that sugar or starch means sugar. Even in the rice and potatoes, it's sugar. Starch equates to sugar. Your body treats it as it's sugar. And so we want to eat those types of things in moderation.
Yes. And then we also, some of our carbs are called complex carbs. So they make up of two categories. So when making some of our meals, we can keep that in mind. Like oatmeal has about 15 grams of protein per serving size. So we just keep that in mind, because then you will have your carb, your protein, and then if you add nuts,
almonds,
that's
slivers.
Your fat.
Yeah.
So then you get all of your macros.
So those of you who like to have oatmeal in the morning,
it's quick and easy.
It's quick and easy, and you're knocking out 2 of those macros right there. Yeah. Okay. When we talk about complex carbs, yeah, she mentioned oatmeal, brown rice, quinoa. Yes. So
I can never make it, but it's good.
I love quinoa. All right. Any questions? And we're paying attention to the chat, and we'll go. Oh, I'm sorry.
Lastly, and then later on in the slides, we'll go over some of those better choices for breads. I know we do have some bread eaters, and we can give you ideas on how to moderately eat it.
Yes, so you can still enjoy your bread, but you don't have to just cut it out, because remember, we're not cutting it out, but we just show you how you can do it a little bit healthier. And carbs is 40%, but again, we'll focus on the 40. You eat, you choose those really good options for you. You write that down or you log that, and then we'll provide feedback. Fat gets a bad rep.
Fat doesn't make you fat.
Yes, that is a new quote that I don't think I ever heard that before till recently, but it's so true and I love it. Fat does not make you fat. It doesn't. It's those carbs. But it's not the fat. So you can have fat, and we want you to have fat, and your body needs fat. It helps your body to absorb those fat soluble vitamins that your body needs for energy. It helps with your brain functioning, your nervous system.
Skin, hair, and nails.
Yes, you need fat. You just want the healthy fats. And healthy fats, I say plant-based fats. So if you're like, what is healthy, what is not? It's the plant-based. So what are those fats that come from the earth? Those are your nuts, your nut butters, your avocados, seeds, your coconut oil, your avocado oil, those vegetable oils. And of course, there are some oils that are vegetable oils that are more nutritious than others, but those are all healthy fats. The fats that are unhealthy that we want to stay away from, or at least limit as much as possible, are the ones that are going to give us, going back to our nutrition, right? So when we're looking at fat, you want to look at that saturated and trans fat. You want that to be zero as much as possible. You're going to find that's going to be found in our fried foods, right? And our baked, and those goodie baked cakes and cookies and things that we love. Really good. Our chips, that's what's bringing in the quote unquote bad fats, right? The ones that we want to limit, the butters and things like that. So you want those healthy plant-based fats. That's where you want to get your fat source from. That is going to determine this number, this calorie count, right? So if we're getting our fats from nuts, seeds, plant-based fats, it's going to keep your calorie count down. If we're doing more of those saturated trans fats, the baked goods, the chips, that calorie count is going up. And I think we look at it and we know it's a lot of calories, but it's because of the type of fat that is included in there. The one thing to note though, while it's healthy fats, right? I'm like, oh, great, I can have all the nuts I want. No, you can't. Or no, you shouldn't. And the reason is because with fats, it's 9 calories per gram of fat, which is the highest, right? And having 9 grams, it adds up very, very fast. So a little goes a long way, even with your healthy fats. So yes, you can have those healthy fats, but you still want to not overdo it. And we'll show you a portion guide that you can use with fats. And it's kind of using your finger here, your thumb, to limiting your fat intake. So yes, you can have peanut butter, right? But you still want to limit it because it's 9 grams or 9 calories per gram. And so it adds up really fast. So it could still take your calorie count up if you're eating too much.
Right. Because I think it's about 3 to 6 nuts per serving size.
Yeah, which is really not a lot. But
that's the serving size.
That's a serving size.
And then one thing to touch on with the plant-based fats, they're more accessible now. I remember a time where you can barely find, coconut oil, olive oil. But avocado now they have it, all
on the regular. You don't have to go to the special aisle anymore.
It's right there with. And then now the sprays, like the cooking sprays, you can do olive oil cooking spray. So that's one good thing.
Okay. So the food option guiding, I don't think it's in here.
It's in there.
It's in here?
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's just pretty now. It's not color coordinated, but actually it is, but with little stars.
Oh, okay. So we have our food option guide.
So it looks a little different now.
This is a guide. Everything that we eat is not included on here, but green means good. Yellow means moderation, red means limit, not stop, right? Just limit. And so this is helpful in that when you're planning your meals, you can say, okay, you know what? I want to stay. Remember 80-20. I want to say 80% of the time, this majority of the time, I'm going to choose from my green star category for each one of my options, because if I'm staying in the green category consistently, then I know I'm eating, my calorie count, right, is going to be lower.
Mm-hmm. And then one thing to touch on, I don't know if you guys noticed, so we typically talk about proteins, carbs, and then fat. So when planning your meals, start with the protein. It makes it a little bit easier. Then add that carb, and then pick that fat when choosing your meal.
Yeah. So start with your protein, add your carb, right? And then I say, and then how are you going to prepare it? Right? Yeah. Are you going to cook it with some olive oil? Like, that's adding your fat.
Yeah. And then one thing that I like to do, and I think you should be able to, you can actually take this page out. Oh, yeah, I like to put it on the fridge.
There is a back.
And then you can look and circle. So ahead of time, you can say, okay, I like to eat this, I like to eat that. And so you can use that as your go-to.
And to piggyback off of that, I even recommend to some of the nutrition clients, take a pen, an ink pen, and circle the things that, without any question, you'll eat and you love, and that it's not like, oh gosh, this is terrible to get down, mm-hmm. right? And then take a pencil and mark those things that are, I don't want it all the time, but I'll eat it. It doesn't bother me. And then for those things that you just do not like, don't even acknowledge it on here, even if it's in the green section, because this is realistic, right? This is lifestyle changes. And if it's something that you don't like, I don't want you to do it for me, because then you're just doing it for me. And soon as I'm out of the picture, you're gonna stop, or you're gonna revert back to something else. So stick to those things that are, yep. I even take it a step further. If you're married and or have children, I've recommended, hey, as a family, sit down and circle the things, especially mm-hmm. if I'm not cooking just for myself, right? Let's circle the things in ink that we all like, right? And then in pencil, what are the things that if I put this in front of you, you're not good? Yeah, you don't want it all the time, but we can do it sometimes. And then what are the no-goes? The no-goes, leave them alone, don't mark them. We won't pull from those categories. That way you're not fighting with and dreading eating mm-hmm. because this should not be a job, and this should not be a dread. It should not be like, oh gosh, I gotta eat. There was someone in here that was doing a shake, and every time that they do that shake, they're like, oh God, I gotta do a shake. And I'm like, don't do it. Who are you doing this for? You're not doing it for me. Mm-hmm. So no. And that way you'll have that guide, and especially when you're cooking for a family, or you're just not fixing meals for yourself, you'll have your options to choose from, so that you're not having to double cook for everybody. We've collectively decided those things, that when I make this, I'm not going to have any pushback. Everybody's going to eat it. Everybody's happy with it. And it'll help make it a lot smoother. One last thing I do want to point out is some foods do our combos. Mm-hmm. And so just pay attention to that. Rashawn mentioned the oatmeal falling into the protein carb category. A whole egg, that's one we get all the time. I just only eat egg whites because I want to be healthy. You can have a whole egg and still be healthy. The white is the protein. The yolk is the fat, is the healthy fat. So if you eat the whole thing, you have your protein and your fat. Now, if there's a cholesterol issue, right, that you're concerned about, then of course, don't eat as much yolk. Go more towards the egg white, but you eliminating the egg white is not making you any more healthier than the person who's having, let's talk about that, that's having the entire egg. Also, one thing that Rashawn and I do when we recommend is, if you're a 2-egg eater, and I have some of our guys that are a 4-egg eater, to do 2 whole eggs and maybe 2 egg whites, or 1 whole egg and 1 egg white. So you're doubling up on that protein. And believe it or not, you guys, that protein in the egg white is low on the calorie count. So you can have a lot of egg whites. What makes it take it up is because the yolk, remember, 9 calories per gram, it just takes it up. So you can still get your quantity in there, get enough by eating, 4 egg whites, but only using 1 egg yolk or 2 egg yolks. That's kind of like a little trick kind of work in that calorie thing. Great question. Turkey bacon. So I have my opinion about turkey bacon.
I think it's on the guide.
Turkey bacon, is it on the guide? Where does it fall? So turkey bacon is it? I don't think so. And the reason why is because there's no part of the turkey that's a bacon. So it's more processed. So you're now getting into the processed foods with turkey bacon. So something to think about. Turkey bacon versus regular bacon. Turkey bacon is processed. We're creating that. That's processed. So I would put it more into the moderate to limit still. But one thing that, so that goes back to my whole egg versus egg white. Might as well eat the real stuff.
Or you go Canadian bacon.
Canadian bacon is my friend. I had that this morning. So believe it or not, Canadian bacon is on the lean. It's in the green section. So it's not bacon. I love bacon. It's not bacon, but it's a healthy alternative. And so I can't have bacon all the time. I can't have turkey bacon all the time. That's going to be in my limit category, but I can have Canadian bacon all the time. So that's kind of how I offset it. You can have your turkey bacon. Just limit it.
If you don't do, like if you have like a diet sensitivity, if you don't do pork, you don't technically have to eat those meats that are deemed breakfast.
Yes.
So you can have like chicken breast, or you can have, some turkey breast, or
absolutely
a different type of meat.
Walmart, Publix, but I just saw this recently in Walmart. Their rotisserie chicken, they're now taking the chicken breast and shredding it up for you. And so you can get the container of already pulled apart rotisserie chicken. They're same rotisserie chicken. So we're not eating anything processed. It's the chicken breast. And so you can just get that, and they have the traditional, the same flavors they do it, the lemon pepper, the whatever. And you can add it to your omelets. You can add it to a salad. We're about making life easy. Mm-hmm. So yeah. I like that point though. Breakfast, we put this thing of breakfast, but you can have, just like you can have breakfast anytime, you can have anything for breakfast.
Right. So reshaping your plate. So this goes back to the plate method, and what Joy pointed out earlier is the portion guide. So if you're out and you need a really quick reference, for our veggies, we want about 2 fists of veggies. That'd be about half that plate. For our protein, women will have about their palm size. So that's about 3 to 4 ounces. Men will have 2 palm sizes. So about 5 to I'd probably 6. Yeah, 6 ounces. For those carbs, the more starchier carbs.
Because remember, vegetables, we can have that all day.
Yeah. It would be a half a cup size for women, a full cup for men. And then for our fat, 1 thumb for women, and then 2 thumbs for men.
So what do we always have with us? Our hands, right? So you can use your hands. I just saw this in the room, and we also recommended this to nutrition clients. Take a picture of that. And if you, is that in the book?
I don't think that's in the book.
We'll send it to you. We can send it to you in the app so that you can take a picture of that. Have it on your phone so you can have it as a reference. Mm-hmm. Your thumb, so you can you can look at your plate, and you can at that point, can I have it to go? And just go ahead and remove it. Just pack it up. I know how silly that sounds, but sometimes you have to play these psychological games with yourself. Just go ahead and pack certain things up.
So sandwich me, any of that better than the other.
Yes.
So
boar's head.
Yeah, I would say boar's head has a lot less sodium and a lot less preservatives.
Yes. So I've actually switched completely to boar's head for those reasons. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to do lunch meat, boar's head. And that's behind the counter.
That's a good question.
Great question. And that's something even great. I just recently, wasn't a big lunch eater, and I'm not gonna say I'm even to this day, but I've started doing it a little bit more because it's easy to have that in the refrigerator. And so I can grab a couple as a snack. I can grab a couple slices of that. I can pair that with some fruit, some nuts, and I have like a nice little complete snack.
Mm-hmm. Makes life so much easier.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So meal prepping is to me the best way to stay on track. Meal prepping looks different for everybody. So you can meal prep all your meals per week. What I like to do when I think about meal prep is what meal am I going to eat out? So I'm most likely going to eat breakfast at home. So I'm going to meal prep my lunches, and then I may even meal prep dinner. And then I
like
know,
that. I like that idea. I like
yeah,
that thought process.
right.
'Cause I didn't think about that. I
Oh,
like that
yeah.
thought process. Like I think I automatically just did those,
Mhm.
but that's a way to think of it for
Right.
sure.
So what meat are you going to eat? Or what meat?
What
Like
meal
that.
are you going to
What
most
meal?
likely be out of the house for?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I like that.
And then also we get a lot of questions of, I don't like eating the same thing every day. So what I like to do also is I'll make 2 meals. So I can have one like Monday through Wednesday, and then something Thursday, Friday.
Or I do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Tuesday. Like I mix it up that way so that I'm not eating it back to back. It's just playing games with your mind and your tongue and things like that.
Yeah.
Real quick, going back to the lunch meat, which meats are better? So thinking back to your food option guide, your turkey and your chicken are going to be, your turkey breast and your chicken breasts are going to be your better options for lunch meat versus your pork, any of those hams. And then even the roast beef, I think your turkey is going to be the better option. And then you get into your chicken breast. So when I go to Boar's Head, I stick more to the turkey breast, chicken breast. So great question.
Yeah. And then last thing I'll touch on about meal prepping is you don't have to prep the whole meal. So like, for example, Joy typically, she'll prep her quinoa in a big container and then ration that out every day. So it's meal prepping, but it's in a different way.
Yeah, meal prep looks different for everybody. You have to do what best fits you. So we have another member who her meal prepping consists of when she gets home from the grocery shopping, she washes her fruits and vegetables and she goes ahead and cuts them up. She's not cooking anything, but for her, and it made all this, I'm like, oh man, that's so cool. For her, having it already prepped that way, then it was easy for her to take out the fruit she needed, to take out the vegetables she needed, and then to prepare. Because if you think about cooking, a lot of the time goes into the prepping piece of it. So she could just take that out when she was ready to cook. That's meal prep. Meal prepping, some people say, well, I don't want to do my meals because I like to eat my meals fresh. Perfect. What about your snacks? Because snacks are the thing that we just grab and go, right? And so we're typically grabbing those things that, because we're hungry really fast, and those things that we probably aren't the best options. So can we go ahead and wash those fruits off and put them in little snack size bags, or going ahead and counting our nuts out? And they even have the snack size nut bags. They're like this, and they have like the little ounce you can just pour it in and it measures it for you. They have so many options. You get a little container, just put a top on it, right? There's so many options that you can go ahead and portion it out, so that if snacks is the issue, you can easily grab those snacks. So when thinking about meal prep, there's no right or wrong or perfect way of doing it. It's how can you make your life easier, right? And what does that look like for you? One other thing I'll point out with meal prep is with purchasing or doing your grocery shopping and then your meal prepping. I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing it all in one day, because you probably it'll take a lot of time, right? Grocery shop, and then you're tired from grocery shopping, and then you're going to meal prep. Pick a day to get your grocery shopping done. Pick a day to do your meal prep. That's an option. Grocery shop one day, then one day say, okay, I'm going to get up and just knock out my meal prep. Whatever that meal prep looks like for you. I'm doing it in 2 different days. Maybe going ahead using your food option guide and writing down, okay, what are my meals going to be? What are my 2 proteins? What are my 3 proteins, my 2 starches, however you want to do that? Write your list down so that you're going intentionally with a purpose to the store. And even just having the idea down, you've meal prepped. Right. You know, we had a member or a client that did the nutrition program where, because she was choosing it that way, then she put it on her refrigerator for her kids to see. So they would know what they were eating every day. That's a way of meal prepping, having that plan. We can even take meal prepping out and say meal planning, right? Having that plan.
Oh, good question.
Yeah. Can you mix and match meals? Breakfast from 1 week for week 1? Absolutely.
That's a good idea.
There's
That's
no
really good
right or
idea.
wrong way. So I think this is a great opportunity to try different things out and see what works for you. Right. And then that thing that works for you, that becomes second nature, that it doesn't take a lot of thought or work. Because once it becomes work or a chore, you're not going to continue to do it. The first opportunity to stop it. So don't try to do like, just, do all the things, right? Figure it out, change it. Oh, you know what? That didn't work too much for me. Let me try something different. And then figure out what works for you.
Yeah. And so our goal during this 28 days is to, I would say, take out processed food. So anything that looks like this, that's really good and yummy, just go ahead. Just go ahead and take it
At least
out.
for these 28 days, right?
At least for 28 days.
Right?
Because you know what? Next week is Thanksgiving.
And the week after.
And we want to have that piece of pie. So
yes, we're going to have pie. We're going to have cake.
What's more important?
We're going to have all of it. Right? We have some dressing. So,
but in moderation.
Yes, we're going to have all of that in moderation. So yeah, I mean, if we can take it out for these 28 days, great. And we have some other options that we're going to share with you. And I think that is our next slide. The other option.
Healthier options. So these brands make healthier options. So Premio Kitchen, they make many dressings and spreads. So they do like the mayo, they have ranch dressing, they do balsamic, they also have ketchup.
Yeah, so all of your condiments,
thank you.
Yeah.
They do.
Primal Kitchen. And you can find that at your Sprouts, at your Whole Foods. Are they in Walmart yet?
I don't know.
They are in Kroger. I'm not sure if they're in Walmart, but they're definitely in those other places. What we said, Sprouts, Whole Foods, Amazon, which is, Whole Foods. But yeah, all of your different condiments. So your different spreads and salad dressings and things like that. Okay. We were just having a conversation about this in the gym this week. Birch blends. That is a great. So if you're a pancake waffle type person, I think in general the paleo options and paleo is basically eating.
Just from the earth.
From the earth. Yeah. So sticking more to your paleo type foods are going to give you just better options, healthier options in terms of what you're eating. So if you're a pancake person,
they make all different. They make a protein version. They have a regular, like without the paleo, without the protein, but they have a lot of different options.
Okay.
Simple meals. This is our go-to for our snacks, as in our cookies, crackers.
Yeah. Cookies and crackers, but they have so many different options and flavors, right? And so you'll find that at, again, Whole Foods, Kroger, Sprouts. Depending on where you go, though, the options change, right? So, and I think it's just, I think the most options are probably at your Whole Foods, but then they have and there's just a smaller option at Sprouts, but then I think Kroger has really huge options for simple meals.
They also have, I remember one time, because I like to bake at times, so they also have like mixes for baking.
Yeah, so they have already made, muffins, but then also the mixes. So if you want to mix something.
Really good. So, and they have them on sale at times at Kroger.
Kroger has simple meals on sale all the time.
Yeah,
and then Sprouts do it pretty often, but Kroger seems like all the time simple meals. So that's if you're a crunchy, crackery, or even a sweet, because even their cookies I like. With their crackers, I do their crackers. So we talked about the luncheon meat.
Oh yeah.
So that'll be my snack. I'll get serving size of their crackers along with my boar's head Cajun turkey breast and my carbs. Those are my carbs and fat, really. So that's enough.
Almond flour base.
That's enough. And that's the thing with the simple meals. Their food is almond flour based. So that's why it makes it a little bit more healthier. But with everything, even though, because this is the mistake I made, I was buying them all, right? You got to eat them in moderation. So I was still gaining weight because
ate the whole box.
I was Simple Meals, like everything was Simple Meals, but I was eating all the Simple Meals, so it didn't help any. So you still just can't eat it all.
Moderation is the key. Moderation is the key. So Siete, they make all of our tortillas, our chips, hard shell tortillas, really good. Again, it's almond flour based.
So tortillas, whether you want to eat it in a flour, like a taco or a burrito, or if you want to eat the actual chips. So for our salty, crunchy people, Siete brand.
They have many different flavors. They do with the tortillas, they have like almond flour, cassava flour,
chickpea.
So, and most of the time they're on sale too.
For Taco Tuesdays, right? The tortillas, and you can do, they have hard shell, and the hard ones are like, the hard ones make you
can't tell it.
I won't even go back to you can't tell the difference. It tastes better actually to me. They taste better than the ones that we see on the shelf to me. They're lighter, they're crunchy, but they're lighter, very like crisp. A very crisp but light taste to them. So you can have your tacos. We say make your tacos at home. And then I love, Rashawn put me onto this, the breakfast. Yes. The huevos rancheros. And she put me onto that. I was eating that for breakfast, like straight for like months for a while. Really so a healthier option, and then always the chips. So again, because we still like our chips, we still need that crunchy, whatever. For those of us, that's our thing. There is an option.
Our coconut aminos, we can use that to replace our soy sauce. So it's a coconut base.
And the only reason, not that soy sauce is quote unquote bad, is just limiting the amount of soy that you're putting in your body.
And sodium.
Yeah, soy and sodium. So coconut aminos is just a healthier option.
And it tastes really good when you make your little stir fries. Rayo's brand of like marinara sauce, pasta sauce,
pizza sauce. They do pizza.
Yeah.
All of your tomato-based sauces. It's just like making your own. Rayo's, because if you look at the ingredients, it literally says like tomato and water,
basil, and spices.
So it literally, you don't see any preservatives.
And added sugar.
No added anything. And how I know is because when you open the jar, just go ahead and cook it all, because it has no shelf life in the refrigerator. It goes bad immediately once you open it up and don't use it. I learned that because my son, he was doing Prego, and Prego, you could open that jar up and it could sit in the refrigerator for months, and then just pour it when you have spaghetti again. Not Rayo's, like a couple days, Rayo's is bad. So, but it's absolutely delicious if you're used to making your own homemade. It is equivalent to that. You'll see on the ingredients, it is equivalent to making your own. So this just saves you time without any of the extra stuff. And they have so many different flavors. The one on here, the Abarot, that's my favorite because they have a little spicy to it. But they have just all kinds, marinaras. They go on sale a lot at Kroger
and Sprouts.
I'm sorry, Sprouts. Yes, Kroger and Sprouts, they go on sale a lot. But you can find Rayo's now at Walmart. So really good brand.
So hydration is key. Like Joy touched on it before, we want to aim for 80 ounces of water. So and we'll go through our point tracker. On our point tracker, we will track it every day. So if we don't reach 80 ounces, write it down.
Write down what you wrote. If it was 32?
32.
32, because we want to see what it is that you're typically, and it's good for you.
And that's our goal. So we can make our stepping stones.
And the reason why water, yes, hydration, absolutely, right? Throughout the day. And then 2, it helps with the digestive system, with moving that food along in your system. So you want to make sure that you're getting that water. And then also water gives you that full sensation. You want to know if you're hungry. Am I really hungry?
Or am I dehydrated?
Or am I dehydrated? Because it can mimic the same kind of feeling. Drink some water. See if that alleviates that quote unquote hunger feeling. If it does, then you know that it was really just dehydration. If you drink and you're like, yeah, no, I'm still hungry, then go in and actually eat something.
So if you have not downloaded the app, I think majority of everyone has. We still have a couple of people that have not. we'll check and send out the link. So just make sure you check your email for the link.
Yeah.
To make sure that you download
So
the app.
this email did not come from us. It comes from Healthy Steps Nutrition. So in your email, you can Google, or not Google, you can search Healthy Steps, just Healthy Steps. It'll pull up and it'll give the link for you to register. And then if you don't see it, you can either let us know, or because we'll check by Sunday, we'll be checking to see who's all logged in. That lets us know. If you haven't logged in, then we know, we'll send it back out to you. So, but don't look for an email from us. Look for in your email, Healthy Steps. And that'll pull up the registration, because you can download the app, from the App Store, but it won't allow you to do anything unless we give you that link to register.
So this would be our main point of communication. We have a group chat, and this is where we'll do all the communication. We also have a private message. So when we message you directly, it'll go directly to you. And so this would be our main source of communication.
I'm just going to hold this up. I don't know how well you all can see this, but when you log in, you will have a little tree. That is going to be our group communication. So in here this morning, I went in and, the other day, Rashawn was welcoming everyone. This morning, I was a reminder that we had our kickoff today. This is where if you put anything in here, everyone in the group sees it. We encourage that. You guys are not doing this alone. We are a team. We're doing it together. We're going to be in here talking. Over to the left, this little red and black icon, this is the DM. Hit me in my DM. This is where you will be talking to Rashawn and I. No one sees that, right? So any of your questions, if you have a question that you think the group will benefit from and you don't mind the group seeing, put it in the group chat, right? That's what this is for. That's why we created the group chat. But if you're just something personal that you want to just talk to us about, you want to let us know, send it to us. But that's also how we will be communicating with you all each week. So I want you all to definitely, these three little dots here.
Just check it.
Click on this to make sure your notifications are on. Because you're not going to know if we send you anything, because it's going to be silent. So you want those notifications so that you can know that we sent you a message, so that you can know when to check it. Unless this is going to be an app that you're going to always be in, right? And if it's not one that you're going to always be in and you need that reminder, go ahead and turn on those notifications to make sure that you get them from us when we're sending messages to you. And it beeps on our side. We know when you send us a message. We know when you send us when you send a group message as well.
So another app that we need to make sure that we download is the MyFitnessPal app. This is what we'll use to track all of our food. We have had in the past where some people, they didn't prefer this option. So we did include a way to write it down. So if you choose to write it down on your food log, you can just take a picture and just send it to us.
Okay. So if it's in the app, we're going to automatically see that because it flows over to Healthy Steps Nutrition, right? There's no additional step. We're able to see it. We're able to get back to you. If you don't, and we know everybody is not an app person. Everybody's not a digital person. That's okay. You can write it down, but you got to send it to us. So taking those screenshots and you send that to the DM, right? You send that to the DM. We get it. Then we can see what's going on and we can coach you from there. Okay.
So this is, and then Joy had a bag of it over here. This is a protein that we like to use. We get questions of, what's a good protein? Ascent, they make really clean protein. So we prefer this brand. If you do protein to help with your workouts, you want to consume it within 30 minutes of your workout. So you can bring it in your little protein shaker. We have a fridge here. You're free to put your protein shake in there if it's already mixed. But if you're doing it with your workout, you want to consume it within the 30 minutes of your workout.
Okay. And consuming it with your workout is really just to kickstart that recovery process, right? That's the purpose of doing it. in that time frame. We have some individuals who have asked in the past and ask now, maybe they don't get enough protein in their diet, right? And when I say their diet, I'm talking in terms of what they're eating throughout the day. Believe it or not, most of us don't, right? That's probably the macro that we eat the least of. We think we're eating a lot of protein and we're really not getting enough. And so just trying to figure out ways to get more protein. This is a way you can do this would be considered a protein supplement. And so in that case, you can have it as a part of a snack or have it as a meal replacement. When people talk about meal replacements, the thing about it, having it as a snack or a meal replacement, you need to treat it like any other meal that you're actually chewing. Mm-hmm. It still has to include all 3 macros, right? You still have to be cognizant of that. So if that's my protein, then what am I adding to it to make it balanced? Am I adding a little teaspoon of almond butter or
almond milk?
Yes, almond milk as my base. I can do water. I can do almond milk. I can do coconut water to add those carbs. If I'm doing the almond milk, that's adding fat, right? I can add, if I keep it, this one, the vanilla one, then I can add some fruit, right? Mm-hmm. So just thinking of ways to get those, to make it balanced, because that's just my protein. If I'm going to have it as a meal, whether it's snack or actual breakfast or whatever, I need to add more to it so it give it some substance so that it can help me to last me to that next meal.
Any questions? Check the chat.
Sorry. Any questions? No questions in the chat. Awesome.
So we're just going to go through just some general questions that we typically get. So one is, how do I know which HSN recipe to choose? So HSN is short for Healthy Steps Nutrition. That's a program that we utilize that writes our material.
And that's the app that you all are using, Healthy Steps Nutrition.
So when we are logging it in MyFitnessPal, so first off, we want to stick with food. So when we're putting foods into MyFitnessPal, we want to stick with the foods that have the green checks. All those have been verified, because anybody can input food into MyFitnessPal or recipes, but it has to be verified. So we like to stick to the ones that have the green check marks. So if you look over to the right, if we are using the meal plan, the recipe will actually be in MyFitnessPal. So underneath where it says veggie quinoa, Healthy Steps Nutrition. So that's how you will see if it's a Healthy Step Nutrition recipe.
So there's a search box, right? So if you're using a Healthy Steps Nutrition recipe, you can actually just type Healthy Steps, any combination of that sequence, right? Mm-hmm. Healthy Steps Nutrition, Healthy Steps, whatever. It's going to give you all of the options. And then you'll see all of your Healthy Steps Nutrition recipes or anything that someone logged that said Healthy Steps. Mm-hmm. And so you can then see the different recipes there. So Healthy Steps went ahead and put their recipes in there. They aren't the only ones who've done that. McDonald's have done that. Taco Bell have done that. Longhorn have done that. So if you're eating out, these places have their recipes in there. As well. Also with the verified things, or even next to the search bar, you have a barcode. If it's an item that has a barcode on it,
you can
scan the barcode. It's going to do it based off of what the nutrition facts say. Whatever, if you stick to that serving, then it'll go ahead and log it. The barcode is the lifesaver for a lot of stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Because you can just do the packet. If not, if you want to type it in. So if I type in, you can honestly type, because I do it all the time. I've scanned the egg carton to get my eggs, and then I say I ate 2 eggs. But if you type in egg, say I didn't scan the barcode, I type in egg in that search bar, then it'll give me all these different egg options, but I'll want to go to the one that has the little green check mark in it. I created a YouTube video giving you tips and tricks for using MyFitnessPal. So we'll send that out. And it's just kind of walking you through, because there are easy ways. MyFitnessPal remembers what you eat. Mm-hmm. So if you're one of those routine eaters, it will already, when you go over there where it says history, it's going to have what you recently ate. And you could just click those things. Also, when you're looking at your log, there's ways where you can just say copy from yesterday. If you're eating the same breakfast as what I typically do,
Right.
I just copy my breakfast over.
Mhm.
If I'm meal prepping and I know I'm going to do this Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I go ahead and plug it in Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So they make it easy so that you're not having to free select each time you go in there.
Right.
So we can send that out. It's just some little tips around entering your food. I will also go back to say, this is where we're not looking for perfection.
Mhm.
Rashawn and I have common sense and we apply it to this when we're looking at your food logs. We know we can look at some stuff and say they probably didn't eat 1,000, whatever of
Mhm.
broccoli or whatever, like something that's just ridiculous. Like we use our common sense when looking at it. Don't make this harder than it has to be. We need to just know what you're eating. And if there are any questions, we'll ask. But I don't want you to get hung up here and get frustrated here trying to make this part perfect. In general, what was it? And there's ways that you can change the measurements and, I had a cup of that, or only ate a quarter cup, but get it logged. We'll work with it. Don't get stuck here. Don't make this the frustrating piece for you.
Right.
This just helps us kind of know so that we can guide.
Yeah. So we have a question. Do you have to log your workout into MyFitnessPal? No.
And it almost don't want you to, because what MyFitnessPal does is if it actually adds calories and says, oh, you worked out, you can have 100 more calories to eat. And so we want you to kind of just stay. So we have a tracker. That's a part of the tracker. We'll get to the tracker system. You'll just kind of write down if you worked out.
Right. So another question, do I need to eat the exact day, or can I pick and choose what I like from other days? And this is referring to
the meal plan.
No, you don't. Circle what you like and, just choose from there. You don't have to eat the same thing. If you want to mix it up, you can do that.
We have so many different variations or takes of how people approach this. So you want to do it exactly, go for it. Pick and choose. Like she said, circle the stuff you like and stick to that. Or if you just know what you like, because I have some people, I'm just a picky eater. All right, let's start with that. Right. And then we'll just provide feedback from there.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
So we will touch on this in a minute, but yes. Yes. Put a note to that. Do I have to weigh my food? You don't have to necessarily weigh your food. If you want to, you can. Our goal is we want to make it simple. We don't want to give you too much too soon.
Yeah.
So just utilize that plate method.
And your portion guide, your hands for your portion.
Yeah.
So no requirements to weigh.
Right. Do I have to eat the starchy carbs? Aren't carbs bad for you? Moderation. You don't have to eat it if you want to, because we have some people that eliminate it all together, because if they eat a little, they're going to eat a lot. So if you want to eliminate it altogether and do those more favorable carbs, do that. Are there any snack bars that I can have? So there are a couple, and those are a couple that are good. Just read the nutrition label on the back. So Larabar, RX bars, I know is
RX bars is probably the best one in terms of ingredients and nutrients. Because they don't use like them, and if you don't, then I say go to Larabar.
Yeah.
What you don't want to do, and she's saying use the ingredient, because people, one that a lot of people eat. What's that one? And it's just loaded with sugar. It's like sugar on the outside, sugar on the inside. Cliff bars. They are delicious.
Yeah. But those are for a different function when you're out, say you're rock climbing all day or something like that, and you need those.
None of us are rock climbing all day. RX. Like prescription RX bar.
Yeah.
That's probably the best one in terms of nutrition. And then Larabar, LARABAR. So I know some people that don't like the RX bars. I typically say, well, then go with the Larabar. They taste they have a little bit more in it. The sweetness I think people are looking for, but it's still not horrible.
Yeah. And then I believe Luna bars are they do have some good ones.
Yeah, I would say look at the ingredients and then you decide, right? And then scan it, right? Scan it. if I'm questioning it while I'm in the store, I open up my Fitness Pal and I scan it like I'm going to like I'm going to eat it, so that I can see that and those nutrition facts and see how that actually looks in my app and how that looks according to my day.
All right. Do I have to eat it all? No, you don't. And we touched on this earlier. Starting out, it may be a little bit difficult for some. If you have that big breakfast, break it in half, eat some for breakfast. A little bit later, eat the other portion for a snack. So our weekly mini challenges. So each week we will have a mini challenge. We strive for 100% participation. It's really fun. So for our first week, we are going to our first mini challenges.
It starts Monday.
So we're going to have everybody post a picture of an item that you bought or currently have that makes your nutrition journey easier and will make it easier during this nutrition challenge. So for example, one thing that I have that makes my life a lot easier and, helps me is my air fryer. It changes the way that you cook food. In addition, what I found out when reading the little manual, for some of the days where you forget to, like, for example, take out your meat and it's still frozen, you can put that frozen meat in the air fryer and it will cook it. So it makes my life so much easier. You have an item?
Yeah. So actually, I mentioned I struggle with water. So I actually purchased a container that tells me how much I should drink each hour throughout the day. So it, I fill it up and it's like 32 ounces, but it tells me the time on one side and tells me, so once I finish those 32 ounces, I fill it back up and then it has the next hour throughout the day. So it counts it down. And so that's my way of making sure that I'm getting enough water in my day. So I purchased that little thing, Hydramate. It was some, and actually it was another client here had purchased it when she did the challenge a while back, and it was her way of getting her water in. And she's like, look what I did. And I was like, that is so cool. I need that because I struggle with the water thing. Like we all have our thing, right? And mine is water. And so I'm going to pull that back out because I don't follow my hours right now. I'm back to probably 32 ounces again. So during these 28 days, I'm going to get my water intake back up. But that's, a way to kind of be mindful. And I can look at the clock and say, oh gosh, it's 10 o'clock. I'm still up here. 10 o'clock is right here. Let me get this water down.
Yeah. And we will send that to you in the group chat.
Yeah, I can say I'm going to send it in the group chat.
So, and each week we will remind you. For our second week, we are going to take a picture of our breakfast. So this week is sponsored by Blended Smoothies. I don't know if anyone has been to Blended Smoothies that's on, but they make smoothies with from Whole Food Source. So what's for breakfast? So during that week, we will have our breakfast. We'll post a picture, encourage others. And sorry, thought about something else. So week 3, this is when I think we start to
participation starts to dwindle, right?
I was trying to find a good way to say it.
So we want to make sure that we still got you. Hey, we're at the home stretch. We're almost there. So this week, even though you should have been logging your food all along, this is probably the week where we get spotty with our logging. And the only way to be eligible for this week's mini challenge is that you have to log consistently that week. So all of your meals every single day will make you eligible for week 3.
Thank you. I was trying to find a way to say it without saying it. So week 4. So someone asked earlier, will we be paired with accountability partners? So everybody will be paired with the accountability partner. So please utilize your partner, check in with one another.
I had a question. Someone asked me this question yesterday. What is the requirements? Like, what are the expectations? Like, what do you want me to do with this? And so I said, listen, no expectations in that you guys have to get on the phone every day and have this chat about anything, right? It's just, you know how it is in the gym when there's a tough workout, right? And to be able to look to your right and look to your left and see that somebody is struggling, or not even so much that they're struggling, that they're in this with you, right? That you are not alone, that you have somebody next to you that they doing this too. Let me keep going because they going too. That's the whole purpose. So in passing, just being able to look to your right or look to your left and say, hey, how's it going? You in there? You still in there with me? Or hey, what did you have for breakfast? I'm struggling, or I'm struggling with my snacks. What are you eating for snack? How can you help me? Or, let me tell you what I'm doing. What do you think about this? Just having that other person outside of Rashawn and I that's in this with you, that whereas we know, and we have a big group that's doing it, you may not know everybody that's in the group, right? But you know one person's name and their information that you can reach out to. But we're going to also dedicate that 4th week to make sure that you all are still connecting, that you check in with your accountability partner. We're probably going to give you a topic, like something to chat about, and then you guys can put your answer in the group chat. And that's how you're eligible for that. You guys talked and this is what y'all came up with. So, but at each week we'll tell you what that weekly challenge is, and you'll have the entire week. You'll have to, I think, till Friday to participate. So if it's to post a picture, you have to post just one time that breakfast at one point. Monday through Friday, just get that picture in to the group chat to be eligible. And then so we'll have a winner each week. So,
and then we do have prizes too.
Yeah. And I always say she was like, I love prizes. And she does. She loves prizes. But let me tell you what makes that so good, that Rashawn loves prizes. We do really good prizes. So because Rashawn loves prizes, she makes sure that you're not looking at it and saying, oh,
I got this.
I got a sleeve for my drink. Thanks. You get really good prizes because she loves prizes. So she makes sure that these prizes are really good. And we give great prizes. But even the prizes, not the prizes, the biggest prize, right, is going to be building those healthy habits and accomplishing something that you probably at the beginning was like, okay, I want to do this. And then when you get to the end, realizing that, oh my gosh, not only was I able to do it, I was able to do it consistently. And I'm saying that now, and that sounds great. You want the prize, right? The actual tangible prize. But I promise you, everyone who has ever walked away from the challenge as a whole, that was a lot of their takeaways. So. Any questions before we move on? So about the partner, we will get you all that by Sunday. We will also be reaching out just to confirm that it's okay to share your information. And if there's a preferred method of communication, we're not going to give out anybody's phone numbers or emails without your permission. And then we will only share it with that person who you're paired with. Okay. The point tracker.
Yeah, weekly point tracker. So this is how we will keep up with everything. So each week you have a set of activities. So one is the plate method. So you get 3 points. So that's breakfast, lunch, dinner. Say you did the plate method for breakfast and lunch, but you missed dinner. Out of those 3 points, we just do 2. We expect everybody to be honest.
Yeah, it is honor system, right? Now I will say with that plate method, guess what? We are looking at your MyFitnessPal. That data's flowing over. So if we see that, oh, well, she ain't got no protein, or she's missing fat, and mind you, fat is understood depending on the meat, depending on, if we see that you had some steamed, some vegetables sauteed with it, like you get fat, right? We know that you'll probably use some oil, but we are looking at the plate method. We are looking at the app, so we are able to see what you see what you actually logged. So if you put slice of pizza, you're probably not going to get that point. Thank you for logging. We need it. We wanted your honesty, but you probably didn't get that point because that's not a plate method, like just that slice of pizza.
And then also for days that you don't log, we can't really verify that either.
Right. So if you ate plate method, but you forgot to log, we have no way of knowing that. That's even though you gave yourself a point, we are going to base that column based off of what you have in the app. We are going to look at it that way.
So our next one is checking in with our accountability partner. So it doesn't have to be
A full-on call-in.
Yeah.
It could be a text message. It could be, if you guys decide just to do to exchange phone numbers, it could just be a quick text. It could be, if you don't want to give out your phone number, you want to be an email, just that you did it. Again, this is going to be honor system. We're going to just have to trust that you did it. We haven't really had any issues with that in the past. We've had people that be pretty honest. They will give themselves 0 points. And that's fine, right? Because every day we're not perfect. Every day we're not going to hit everything. And that's the expectation. We look at it when it's like perfect. So like, what? Are you that perfect? No.
Right. So our next one is physical activities, at least 30 minutes. So you don't have to come to the gym. Like if on your off day, you want to go for a walk or a run, just getting that physical activity in at least 30 minutes. Our next one is our stress relief. What are you doing to relieve stress? Are you working out? Working out is one.
Could be read a book, meditating,
light a candle,
bubble bath.
Yeah, all the above. What are you doing to relieve those stressful moments? Sleep, which is again in our point tracker. So then here's our 80 ounces of water. So if we're only reaching 32 or 60, let's write it down, because then maybe week 2, we can actually start getting those 80 ounces.
And that'll also help us to be able to see where you're gauging. And that may be what we recommend. We can from there say, hey, this week, can you just focus on adding 8 ounces? Yeah.
So our sleep, are we getting at least 6 hours of sleep? And then lastly, participate in those weekly chats. So each week we will have a topic. So just participate and give us thumbs up, smiley faces. We just want you to participate.
Right. And you only have to, we have one question a week, and somewhere between Monday and Friday. Mm-hmm. Well, actually not even that, because I think we do it midweek. So we do it about Wednesday. So, but you only have to respond one time to the question. Answer the question in the chat. You get your point.
You get your point for the full week. Although it does say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, well, the little lines.
We're just looking, and that we can verify because we look in the chat.
Sorry, April.
So do you compare? You can ask the question.
Oh, I'm just saying, so who completes this?
Oh, you complete it. So each week, once the week ends, so on Sunday, so it starts Monday to Sunday, we are going to ask you, remember, or we'll put in the chat, remember to send us to send us your point tracker. We'll say that about 1,000 times. Please send us your point tracker. We didn't get it. We'll probably, send you a direct message. Hey, send us your point tracker. We just want you to take a picture. You don't send it to the group. You send it in the direct message to us so that we can calculate those points. We don't have the points. It factors into the overall winner of the challenge in general. So if we don't have the points, those are points that you guys did everything. We just never got the points. Mm-hmm. So we're going to keep reminding you, hey, send it, so that we can get those points in there so that you can get your points for the overall.
So picking a winner. So she talked about picking a winner. So it's not just based on like
who's the biggest loser.
Yeah. So it's going to be on the participation. This is like a huge part of it. So participation and going with those percentages.
Right. And participation, the reason why participation is because it's those action steps. That's how we get results. It's not the voila, I got results. It's what did I do to get to those results? Was I eating the plate method? Was I doing some sort of physical activity? Was I, what am I doing to get towards that? So that's why we put such a focus on the participation piece of it. That it's not just participation, it's am I applying the tools that I've been given?
Yep. So our winning prize for our overall winner is going to be a cash prize plus 1 month of ongoing coaching. So we do provide ongoing coaching once you finish the challenge. So that is an option.
Yeah. And even if you don't win, just know that we do have the nutrition program. And like she said, we do offer ongoing nutrition. So as you're doing this, remember 28 days. It's the kickoff, right? Mm-hmm. It's a kickoff to what we want you to continue to do, not just 28 days and say, okay, now I'm going to resort back. Hopefully we've started making some changes. And if you want us to help to continue to coach you along the way in that journey. That is always an option.
Mm-hmm. And these are just some of our people that have done our challenges or nutrition coaching. So we like to showcase everybody. So we're excited.
Yeah. And we have way beyond, like, I don't think we've had anybody that just wasn't successful. Everyone was able to see something, some sort of change, and everybody's goals are different. Yeah. And so I think it's really just kind of based on your goal.
So
any other questions? And even if you think about them this weekend, remember you have your chat. If you think everyone will benefit from that question and you don't mind putting it in the group chat, put it in the group chat. If you'd rather not put it in the group chat, you can just send a direct message to us. But then also, if we see that the answer would be something, or the question is something that probably other people ask that too, we may take the question or the answer to the group. We won't say that so-and-so asked. We'll just say, hey, just want to make sure you guys are aware, blah, blah, blah. So we may still take it to the group. We just won't disclose who sent it. So we're excited, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yay! Thumbs up in the chat. We're excited. It all starts Monday. So everyone start, you have the next couple of days to start getting your grocery list, getting your ideas together. Remember, take a picture. You already took your picture, right? So we talked about the app. Take a picture of your goals. DM us those goals. Please DM us those goals. We need to know. We're here to partner with you. We want to know what you are going to focus on for the next 28 days, so that we can know how to best coach you to achieving those specific goals. And then Monday, so listen, go get that don't binge eat this weekend. Just do normal.
Do normal. That is normal.
All right. Well, thank you guys for your time this morning. We are going to download this and then send out the recording so that everyone can have the recording, those who were able to make it, not make it. If you made it and just want to hear it again, you'll have the recording to refer back to.
All right.